right? And I'm a mental hygienist. Can anybody tell me what that means? A mental hygienist. Yep. I'm here to clean up your brain. That's what I do. Right? I'm here to change your perspective. I am the best friend you didn't know that you needed. So I had my mask and I got it from Pepperdine. Later in life, and it was literally him nudging me. My story is, because by trade, I've been doing hair almost 40 years. And God told me to go to school. And I said, you couldn't be talking to me because I never was a student. So I went to get my IDA and then my bachelor's at Convenience. And then he said, it's time to finish because I thought I was done. And I said, okay, if I hear a commercial to go to Pepperdine one more time, I'll do it more because I'm on my hair to do that. And I heard it one more time. Okay. So I can find out that this is 5 years. So I can figure out how to get into Pepperdine because I had done what I thought I was done. I got in on the last day of applications. With that, let me tell you the reason why I'm telling you this story, because this is so funny. This is not why I'm here, but this to give some encouragement because I'm an old student, right? So I got in on the last day. God says, do it, he'll cover you in it. I said, if it's your deal, it's your deal. I got in, I got a scholarship or a discount of whatever. I did the application. A friend said, let's go to school together, but not at the same time, but not together. I said, okay, I've already done the application, but I need to finish it. So she said she worked at USC, so she had to do administrative work. I had to go to work. When I got back to her house, she had done all the legwork, which meant that I had to go take the GRE, that's get into the college, and I had to study. And I had 1 week to do it. 1 week to get in. So I'm trying to figure out what score do I need to get. You had to get 132 to do reading and 130 to do math. That was low. That's just passing. I'm looking at all the rest of these grades, all the rest of the scores to qualify you. 750, 700, this high. So I had to study for a week, and remember, I'm an old student. I haven't got everything. I did it. I studied for the week. Got out all my paperwork in, all the things in 1 week. Now I gotta go take the GRE, and I couldn't remember anything on this test. Like, oh my God. I didn't remember words, I didn't remember math, all the things. But I'm gonna do it. I said, if I don't get in, I'm never gonna see in, because it made me feel like I was walking into prison. Let me check your glasses, under your arm. You want to see my baby toe? Just to make sure I'm not cheating. Whoops. So never gonna see in. I did the test. I got 100 and 120.
Okay.
That's fast. I wanted to act like that was amazing because I did. I cried the whole time. Lord, I should have studied. I should have waited till the next term. I called the friend. She was like, oh, pass. I was like, you don't understand. I need to get a 750, a 800. She was like, pass. Okay. I let it go. You don't hear from him for a while. So I went in to do the orientation. So when I'm doing the orientation, they were like, oh, it's going to cost, blah, blah, blah. I never thought about how much it was going to cost. Okay. So that's when I decided, God, your bill is your bill if I'm going to Pepperdine. I came out, I was like, if he doesn't do it, it's cool. I'm going to still be a coach. I'm going to do something else. I got the plan B. So God said, don't have to plan B. He said, trust me. I got that acceptance letter. I said, who would look like her like me? Oh my God. And I was one of 2 blacks in my program.
Okay.
Pepperdine is a Christian school, but I felt so much discrimination. I didn't know if it was Asian or color, but I So now we're in the semester, and these little young kids was like, do you think you can read this? I think I can read that. I think I can do that. So one day I was so frustrated, I promised myself I wouldn't be the angry black woman. So I tried her in, I was like, Lord, I need to talk to her. And I never saw her on campus before that day, and I didn't see her after. But she showed up coming out the bathroom, and I was like, I need to talk to you. I said, listen, this is what I'm up against. And her answer was, God will use you when it's your time. As soon as you need to be used, he's going to use you. She said, look at me, I'm the dean, and I'm amongst all these white people. So sometimes I got to sit in front and get myself together. So I was like, okay, I can do this. We had a class, because we had to do studies, or study a case study, and everybody was like, the teacher was like, okay, what's the problem? And I was like, she's talking about suicide. It seems so easy to me. They were like, no, that's not what she's talking about. Oh, that's what she's talking about. That's what she's talking about. They had to roll it back, and that's exactly what she was talking about. So now everybody's like, oh my God, we want you to be the coach, we want you to be the, oh, now you know my work. Cool, I love it. So that was the beginning of my story of how God pushed me in a situation that I didn't necessarily want to be in. Because it wasn't my comfort zone. All of this is not my comfort zone. What I can do well is me. But that's my ministry behind the scene. So now he said, I let you do what you want to do. Now you're going to do what I want to do. So I get to make people look pretty on the outside and help clean them up on the inside.
All right.
And what an honor that is for me. Because there's so many people that move in fear. Right? And they don't even realize how much fear they move into. So my job is to help you understand that's not true, because God didn't give us the spirit of fear. In fact, the Bible tells us that we wrestle not with flesh and blood, but with principalities, right? And so when you understand, oh, I'm just moving in fear, and what fear can cause mental illness, right? So we got to get to what's the underlying fear, which is usually unforgiveness. We go through trauma. What is the trauma that we're not dealing with? So often we'll say, we had my childhood was fine, my parents would know better. But that didn't mean that your parents met you at your point of need. They might have given you shelter, they might have given you clothes, they might have fed you, but they never hugged you. They never came and saw a performance or saw you play a game or gave you even praise. They just, let's get it done. So you never learned what love looked like. We never learned what that was, right? So once we get into a relationship or even friendship, we don't know how to love because our parents didn't teach us, right? Our first little G guys didn't teach us how to love, didn't teach us how to be in relationship. They did the best they could, but it didn't meet you at your point of need. So now we're dealing with trauma. What does that look like? Sometimes trauma can be neglect, abuse, physical, emotional, verbal abuse, and we just think, oh, that's a given, right? It's not a given because then the enemy loves to use patterns. So then he'll work on you in that pattern, and you're like, I don't know how I keep coming up with the same kind of man, because that's a pattern that he knew. He knows spirit, right? So if you have abandonment issue, you're going to get a man that's abandoned. He has abandonment issue. You get friends that have abandonment issue. You get, this is what you attract until you break the cycle, right? But you can't break the cycle by yourself, right? So God sent me to school so I can help his people. Because you go to church and they say, come to Jesus and everything will be okay. That's a true statement, not because how can I hear the voice of God when I have this other voice, this other recording going on in my brain, right? How do I silence that? So you have to learn how to differentiate between God's voice, your voice, and the enemy's voice. That's going to always take you back to who you used to be, right? That little girl that you were told you weren't good enough. That little girl that said you were fat, or whatever that looked like, right? We all have trauma. Funny thing is, my trauma was here. When I was a little girl, I got to fight over my hair. God put me in a position to, you want to hair, right? But that was my trauma. Even to this day, I still have to go, no, my hair is fine. I am the trauma that is driving me? What is the enemy lying to me about? Because God said I am fearfully and wonderfully made. But you can read it, but you got to read it, right? And the biggest thing with believers is they don't know how to surrender and they don't know how to leave. So I'm here to help bridge that gap of how do we get you to be able to erase the recording that the enemy set up, or your little G God set up in your life to make you move the way you move, and you don't understand why don't you get the same results. And it takes faith and bravery to change. Without faith, it is impossible to fly. Without faith, right? You gotta trust the process. You gotta be able to trust Him. Whatever He's called you to do, you gotta be able to do it, right? And sometimes you gotta be pushed, and God will push you out of your comfort zone to get done what He wants done in your life, or you'll let somebody else do it. Right? So, do we want that to happen? We don't want that to happen. We want to know, what are our fears? What is holding me back? What's my trigger? Right? So we'll get into a relationship, and then we'll do one of two things if we aren't healed. We'll fight to get out of it, or we'll fight to stay in it. We become people pleasers, or we become aggressive and angry. Right? And we go, that's just who I am. That's how I show up. That's not how God is. Right? Well, God knows my heart. Yes, He does. He absolutely knows your heart. So that's not default, because He said that He wants to change your heart. He doesn't want you to, He wants to transform you. He doesn't want you just to start changing your behavior because, oh, when I make heaven, no, He wants you to transform to become the woman of God He created you to be. But sometimes we need a little bit of help to get there because we don't understand who we are. And hell is kicked wide open. But good Christians and people that think that they know what they're doing, but the Bible says something absolutely different, right? So you have to be brave enough to say, I need a little bit of help. I don't know what I'm doing. I've done it all my way. I'm no longer going to do it my way. I want to do it God's way. I need to understand what does God's way look like, because I thought I was serving. I thought I was doing it all my way, and I'm still failing. That doesn't mean that we won't come up against speed bumps or whatever to try to stop us. But as long as we know we got God, we can push through. And it's like someone else was saying that we need community. We need each other. We need to be able to get on the phone and call and be like, I need a little bit of support. I need a little bit of help. Today I'm overwhelmed. Today I don't know what to do. Right? I got my people here that support me like amazing. And everyone needs that. Because mental health comes from not being able to process your information.
Right.
And we so often don't even know that we are mentally ill. Whether that is acute mental illness or just a little bit, like we all a little bit crazy, right? And how do we come off of that and be okay with ourselves? How do we get to being a better? How do we get to a better quality of life? And I can trust God with the process. Again, that's where I step in. Let's talk about it. I'm gonna listen to you. I'm gonna be a good listener. You're gonna tell me a story, and then I'm gonna give you some things, some tools. And not only will I give you tools, I'm gonna give you permission to use it. Because so often we'll get a tool, but we'll be like, that's not for me. I can't use it. I don't know how. No, we have to be brave to change. We have to want something different. All we got to do is somebody say one yes, and one yes can change your life. One choice can change your life the rest of your life, right? We're not all going to be millionaires. We're not, I just want to be 100,000, right? I mean 999,000. That's good enough for me. So we can just change the perspective of how we look at things and know that no matter what, we still show up okay. And okay, I need a little bit of help. I'm not a great parent because our little G God is a great parent. So even when we think that we want to change the pattern, we don't know how. Because whatever's modeled to us is what we do. So now I need a different model. I want to break the generational curse. And how do I break the generational curse? By doing something different. By being brave on purpose. You have to do it on purpose. We have to stop living merely existing, and learn how to live on purpose, right? So God gave me the ability to create, my business is called Changing a Beautiful Mind. Does anybody ever see the movie A Beautiful Mind with Russell Crowe? In that movie, the man won a Pulitzer Prize, but he had schizophrenia. In his world, what he thought was real. And we as women, we can create a whole narrative in our mind and it be real. Like, I get sleep with another woman, or you did with that. That's not what it is. But that was a scenario that we create in our mind. So I get to change your beautiful mind, right? I get to be the best friend you never thought you had. You just got to be brave enough and call me and let me know you need some help. And with that being said, you got cards, there's a QR code to go to my website, and I hope